goes for those MAGA kids, and Nick Sandmann in particular, who was dealt a horrific hand by the crooked, mainstream Mockingbird media. You guys already know the real story. These young men had the courage to stand in the face of tyranny. And as a father, let me just say, I would be very proud to call Nick Sandmann my son. And all of those young men who all demonstrated courage and tried to do the right thing while they were the ones under fire for the color of their skin and for their personal politics. And they also did the right thing by marching for life. My friend Tracy Beans and A Plain Truth on YouTube both recently made videos regarding the depravity and pure evil that these minors, these teens, had the courage and moral fortitude to march against: abortion. The one topic that seems to unite the left like no other.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have more shenanigans of the Antichrist media to expose. There's more to some of these stories than what is being debated on the surface. At the Hawk Report, we tell it like it is, and we'll try and bring you an angle you have not heard to make this report truthful and valuable, or time well spent. Just like so much of what we're seeing today, this is another case, if you get to the root of the matter, of Christianity versus paganism, with a lot of demagoguery behind it. That's right, these kids, while not acting as perfect angels, but still, as they say, good kids, were there for a good cause. Good, clean Christian kids from good families, and the highly biased liberal media stigmatize them for it, because the media are under the dragon pseudo-value system that makes judgments by groups they hate. And those groups are always the bad guys. See our video, They Drank the Dragon's Kool-Aid to understand the dragon system better. So the Christians versus the pagans, and I'll side with the Christians. How about you? We know the Antichrist demagogues won't side with Christians, especially since they're white, God forbid. I'll side with the Christians over the pagan Indians, and not all Indians can be judged as a group, as these demagogues judge. But I'll side with the Christian kids, especially since I've heard more of what happened for myself, and will never let myself, as I hope you won't either, be indoctrinated by the fake news media. And that's what those demagogues do. They indoctrinate people to side with their pseudo-value system of hate, while they turn the tables and call the other side haters. That's what they do. They are cunning enough to fool many. The so-called indigenous Native Americans are no such thing, and this animosity goes way back to when America bought the Southwest in the Hidalgo Treaty. That's right, Americans bought it. And if the truth be told, many Mexicans and Indians that I guess have an ancestral relation don't accept that agreement and want the land back. A short historical revisionist lesson that you likely won't hear elsewhere is due here, because there's some fake history going around too. Fake history benefits carnal mankind more than you've probably imagined. Oh yeah, people get restitution, there's Indian tribal commodities, even though they were not even involved in the war and the land is not theirs. So why was the land not theirs, and was there even an indigenous people in America? First, let me say that throughout history, lands have been conquered in blood. America is no exception. But D. James Kennedy, a very godly intellectual with a lot of knowledge, used to say, God made America a Christian nation, otherwise she never could have been one. And I would agree that no matter how good the intentions of our forefathers were, and God did bless them, only God could do it. And America's fruits have shown this. Is America perfect? Of course not. But there is none like it that has done so much good either. If you haven't already, go back and watch the Surrounding of the Camp of the Saints video in our archives to know why America is unique among all other nations. I'll put a link below. I have to apologize, but the video really picks up after the slow beginning. But God has the right to give a country or nation to a people. For instance, after the Israelites drove out the Canaanites at God's will, were the Canaanites called indigenous natives to the land? No. It was God's people's land after that, and they paid no commodities either. Actually, they plundered them. Equality is a pseudo value of the dragon that is to intimidate us. Equal opportunity is God's way, but to say everyone is equal is not, because some people make bad choices throughout life. The Canaanites were neither innocent or ignorant victims, neither. But they chose paganism, and thus God harshly judged them. Second, the Indians were not some homogenous group called American Indians, as you've been taught. No, they were different Indian peoples and tribes actually fighting among themselves for land, etc. They were not even from America, but some say came from Asia through the Bering Straits into America. But none of that even matters because, as I said, they were and most are pagans. Their fruits have shown this in what they, as a people, not individuals, we don't judge people that way, we don't care about their ethnicity or anything else, this is just to prove a point, have not done what they have not done to make America great. As individual Indians, I'm sure many do a lot of good things, but that's not what we're talking about. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo ended the U.S.-Mexican War. It was signed on February 2nd, 1848. It is the oldest treaty still in force between the United States and Mexico. The treaty added an additional 525,000 square miles to the United States territory, including the land that makes up all or parts of present-day Arizona, California, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. Because of its military victory, the United States virtually dictated the terms of the settlement and paid Mexico $15 million and agreed to settle all claims of U.S. citizens against Mexico. From the book American Lion, Andrew Jackson and the White House. Here is more of what some of our founders had to say about the Indians they encountered. This is from the Declaration of Independence in Congress, July 4th, 1776, signed by the 13 colonies of the representatives of the United States of America. Quote, "He, the King of Great Britain, has excited domestic insurrections against us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. One can argue fear that is what war is about, etc., but you do not hear such brutal heathen savagery about the settlers to America during those times. Besides all this, the Indians were not exterminated from the land, or their culture was not. They just got dissolved by progress. Ultimately, many Mexicans hope for Reconquista, and I believe that's what these caravans coming from Honduras, Guatemala, and other areas in the news are about. A reconquest of territory lost when Mexico signed the 1848 Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo at the end of the Mexican-American War.
In the year 2015, New York performed 544 abortions for every 1,000 live births. Let that sink in. Now, is it any wonder the liberal Mockingbird mainstream media targeted the Covington Catholic school kids after they marched for life? As CNN and the rest of the globalist whore media misrepresents the truth about what happened outside of the Lincoln Memorial as these teens, these minors, waited for their bus to travel home.
The native elder was identified as Nathan Phillips, a member of the Omaha Nation and a Vietnam vet.
It has been revealed that Nathan Phillips, who the media portrays as a heroic Native American and Vietnam War vet, has been exposed as not a Vietnam vet.
The only thing that freezes Nathan Phillips is one of the refrigerators he was supposed to be repairing while he was AWOL in Nebraska while he was pretending to be a recon ranger in Vietnam. Wait, what?
But don't try to go to Infowars.com for the honest version of these events. Google is blocking it as a dangerous site that delivers malware. So it's up to Cincinnati.com's Gil Spencer to ask the right questions about Nathan Phillips, and he's got a lot of them. First of all, why did Phillips march up to the Covington Catholic students and start banging his drum instead of walking up to the adults from the Black Hebrew Israelites who were viciously insulting not only the white students, but members of his own group as well? Did he not hear the epithets the members of this known hate group were shouting at the teenagers? Cincinnati.com contributor Gil Spencer has many other questions for Phillips as well, 14 in all, and you should read them. I will link the article in the more information section below. But this type of misrepresentation and false reporting, in fact, lying to the American people, is reaching its boiling point.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
We are hearing from a Native American elder and Vietnam War veteran speaking to CNN after a disturbing viral video shows a group of teens harassing and mocking him in the nation's capital. Here's the video sparking outrage on social media right now. Nathan Phillips was beating his drum and singing an American Indian protest song. And this was on Friday on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial when he saw a clash erupting between a group of teenage students and 4 African American young men preaching about the Bible and oppression. Well, Phillips says he immediately sensed danger.
He lied about the kids swarming him. He lied about being blocked. He lied that the kids were looking for trouble, looking for something. He also lied about the students saying, build that wall, build that wall.
I heard them saying, build that wall, build that wall.
Not only did he lie about the kids being beasts, targeting old black individuals as prey, the old black individuals turned out to be the ones hurling outright racist and homophobic slurs throughout 2 hours of unedited footage. Even further, he defended the black Hebrew Israelites, claiming it looked like these young men were going to attack these guys. Nathan Phillips didn't just make a mistake, though. He goes further, arguing the black Israelites, they were saying some harsh things, but some of it was true, too. And that when the students found out there was more truth out there, they were offended.
Your president is a homosexual. Kumbaya! Ain't gonna be no peace until blood is shed. This is a bunch of future school shooters.
That's right. Y'all got one nigga in the crowd, huh?
One nigga in the crowd.
One nigga, huh? That's right. Here come Gad. Here come Gad.
And now, hero LA trial lawyer Robert Barnes is stepping up to represent the kids who he says were libeled, slandered, and defamed. And he's threatening to sue the New York Times' own Maggie Haberman for libel, along with sleazeball actor Michael Rappaport, who was great in the movie True Romance, written by Quentin Tarantino more than 20 years ago.
I don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out. All I got is fucking Floyd.
And hasn't been great in much since.
You see the video of these Catholic school teenage boys, hand jobs, harassing, getting in the face of these Native American people? Check this out.
And in a January 24th interview with InfoWars, Barnes said Maggie Haberman had to know these kids were innocent. The press was waiting, and they attacked. It was a deliberate campaign. Barnes says, and I quote, "This was a conspiracy. It was a hit job. It was a hit job on their futures. It was a hit job on their reputations." And Barnes goes on to say, imagine being a 15 or 16-year-old kid. You've never, ever experienced this lefty protest culture before, and you think you're just participating with the drums and participating with the Native American. You conduct yourself with the best possible behavior, and then you go home and you discover that you're the subject of the worst libel campaign of private citizens in U.S. legal history. Meanwhile, the Mockingbird mainstream horror media, the liars, the enemies of the people, ignore that the black Hebrew Israelites hurled profanities and racial slurs at the mostly white Catholic teens. Mainstream media, silent, because it doesn't fit the whites are racist narrative. And now the whole thing is blowing up in their face, and the people who have slandered these private citizens, who are also minors, are now about to pay for their crimes in front of a Kentucky jury.
The nice thing about defamation law is that when a particular form of lie or libel is particularly inflammatory, you're allowed to seek what's called per se damages. This means you don't have to prove any individual damages to you. It's just that it's so offensive that the jury gets to assign what those damages are. Those damages can range from $50,000 to $300,000 to, in the Gawker case, millions and millions of dollars. So all these people that have lied and libeled better be checking their bank accounts if they're going to continue to lie and libel of these kids.
So I'll wrap up by saying, friends, that it's incidents like this one where the mainstream Mockingbird CIA media does us the biggest possible favor for exposing themselves as the manipulative liars they are.
This is probably the most extreme and viral moment of media manufacturing of claims of racism that I've seen in the 25 plus years that I've been documenting these kinds of hoaxes, which are stoked by liberal journalists with an agenda.
Liars that will cheer for the destruction of innocent teenagers.
One could argue while Mexico lost the war in 1848, it will probably win it in the 21st century in terms of the numbers, a reporter said from WorldNet Daily Navarro. But that is not a reality based on what Mexico does. It's based on what this country does. He argues that misguided U.S. policies and tax enforcement have allowed a steady stream of 1 million illegal immigrants a year to enter the country. Demographers agree that instead of integrating into a melting pot, new Hispanic immigrants, both legal and illegal, are building a distinct politically active community. The problem is not that they have a voice, Spencer says, but that they increasingly are acting according to the interests of Mexico. Excerpts and quotes of President Bush's interview with editors and reporters of the Washington Times. In a January 2005 article from the Washington Times, President Bush stated, quote, "Look, whether or not you agree with the solution, we have a problem in America when you've got 8 million undocumented workers here," unquote, said Mr. Bush, leaning forward in his armchair and putting his elbows on his knees. Quote, "A solution is not instantaneous citizenship. The solution is something more rational than that," end quote. Then on the other side of the fence, we have the liberals and Jewish community telling us we are bigots for discriminating against these people who are here with good intent. Quite personally, if we believe what God is showing us, I think it is pretty darn generous for us to let any, doesn't matter where they're from, people in. Even if they are here legally, America should act in the same manner Old Testament Israel took in their strangers. Quote, "Give up your pagan beliefs and embrace Christianity," end quote. If we don't become intimidated and speak from discernment, it's somewhat easy to see the dragon's disciples from Christ. My wife has said things like, "I could tell there was something wrong with them," meaning her discernment sensed derangement. It's called intuition, and it's a gift from God we can sharpen, and they want to silence us from using it, so we eventually think derangement is the norm. We can't let them do that. This is Stephen Hawk. Until next time.